Look big, act small. During Mr. Miller's gym class in my sophomore year of high school, I became aware of Mark Seagraves, except there was no such student. Mr. Miller had a knack for butchering the simplest of names. Henderson became Hankerson, Seagraves became Seagraves, and Rickson became Rakesh. No matter what your name was, Mr. Miller would shred it. I don't know if he was illiterate or just old. So fast forward more than a decade, and who is listed on my website as my Chief Technology Officer? Mark Seagraves. Oh, and look who's my web developer, Gretchen Hankerson. Wow, so did I hire my friends from high school? No, I didn't, especially since their names were just mere illusions of the real people. None of these people worked for me. Yet if you visited my website's A Contact Org About Us page, they were listed as employees in high-profile positions: CTO, business development, or web producer. These people weren't employees, but it looked like my staff was big and growing. I admit that this started off as a harmless inside joke with my employees, but I eventually realized it had a benefit. It was branding my product to look big, dominating, well-funded, growing. Of course, I'm not sure if butchered names from a 1987 gym class serving as employee apparitions was ethical, but my purpose and intention was clear. I wanted to look big and act small. Setting up sucks. Big companies notoriously give poor service as a model of expectation. Meanwhile, small companies are known to give better service with a personal touch. My objective was to look like I had the power of a big company, yet give personal service as if I were a one-person operation. When you receive personal, exemplary service from a big company, you create a SUCS event and create loyal, evangelic customers. Anywhere customer service is expected to suck, you have a business opportunity. Looking big and acting small is a setup for SUCS events. The customer expects mediocre service from the start. This tactic works well for any company that operates without a physical presence. Obviously, you can't look big if you own a small retail store, but for those of us with internet companies, you can. The trap that snares many business owners is the extreme opposite: they look small and act big. Joe Blow Enterprises. Does this give you confidence that you are dealing with a strong, reputable company? This company name screams this is a one-man show and says nothing substantial or attractive.
Sorry, Joe Blow Enterprise
Is a monumental fail. I'm sure the logo is non-existent, and if there were one, it'd be bland, boring, or look like it was designed using some freeware paint program. This company's website is static, stale, and childlike. No, Comic Sans doesn't cut it for a professional image. This company sells to the world but doesn't have a toll-free number. Small. 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 The problem compounds when their smallish business operates with big-ish company actions. Call their business and you get a long maze of buttons to press only to land at the bottom of a voicemail dump. Send an email? Forget it. Most emails are ignored, and the ones read are answered weeks later. I'll get back to you never happens. Customer service issues aren't resolved in hours, but in weeks. If you insist on working 4 hours a week, your business won't grow because your selfishness is more important than growing a business meteorically. Look small and act big and you dig your own potholes. Beat competitors before they start. My other purpose for looking big was to beat my competition before they even started. When someone or some company wants to set up shop and compete with you, they investigate you first. They look at your website, see what you're doing and the prices you're charging, and decide if they want to invest money and time to enter the space. To the untrained entrepreneur, a big company will scare would-be entrepreneurs almost like it scared me away. Oh geez, how can I compete when they have 12 employees against little me? If an entrepreneur thinks they can't compete because you're too big and too well-funded, you've won before they've even started. They either engage half-heartedly or defer to another industry with duller competition. Look big but act small. Chapter Summary: FastLane Distinctions. Complaints are valuable insights into your customers' minds. Complaints of change are difficult to decipher and often require additional data to validate or invalidate. Complaints of expectation expose operational problems in either your business or in your marketing strategy. Complaints of void expose unmet needs, raise the value of your product or service, and expose new revenue opportunities. Great customer service is as simple as violating your customer's low expectation in the positive. Poor service gaps are FastLane opportunities. Satisfied customers can be human resource systems who promote your business for free. Satisfied customers have a dual residual effect: repeat business and new business via discipleship. Your customer and their satisfaction hold the key to everything you selfishly want. Looking big but acting small sets up customer service expectation violations in the positive. Looking big can scare away potential competitors. 41. Throw hijackers to the curb. People are definitely a company's greatest asset. It doesn't make any difference whether the product is cars or cosmetics. A company is only as good as the people it keeps. Mary Kay Ash. Your castle is mismanaged. Your castle is your business. If you put crooks in the castle, expect trouble. Returning to our chess analogy, the rook, or the castle, represents the people you put in your business. This includes employees, partners and investors, and advisors. The business marriage, partners. A business partner is like being married. It either works fabulously or it ends in fiery divorce. 3 years ago, Jim and Mike were drinking beer at a bar and a legendary idea was born that compelled them to start a business together. Their only consideration for the union was their excitement. They agreed to do a 50-50 profit split and zealously began. Mike finds their first client while Jim finds the second. Within a few months, their client base expands to 28, enough for both of them to draw a profit and quit their daytime jobs. After 2 years, Jim's time on the job and quality of work starts to suffer. Not that Mike knows what Jim is doing every minute of the day, but he notices something that concerns him. For every 4 clients Mike brings to the company, Jim brings 1 and sometimes none. He later learns that Jim read a book that advocates working 4 hours a week. And to make matters worse, Jim's clients are not supported well and Mike has to take up the slack, yet every Friday, like clockwork, Jim is there to get his 50-50th cut. When Mike brings this to Jim's attention, Jim gets defensive and tensions mount. This confrontation only decreases Jim's productivity to where he sometimes doesn't have new clients for months. Mike tries to dissolve the partnership and Jim resists. Why shouldn't he? He's collecting 50% profits off of Mike's efforts. Mike ultimately has to hire a lawyer and seek a legal remedy. A few years later, the partnership is dissolved and, along with it, Mike and Jim's friendship. Partnerships are marriages. After the love affair and the lust wears off, they must survive on character, synergy, and complementary attributes. My early entrepreneurial ventures were all partnerships and all miserable failures. Not that my partners were bad people, but our work ethics, values, and visions were not compatible. I remember one partner had a normal 9-to-5 job and was active in intramural sports. The business was number 4 or 5 on his priority list. The other partner was out working for other businesses, including ours. That left my business and me, which was priority numero uno. Do you see an issue here? Search the FastLane forum for partnership, and you'll find a garden of complaints about partnerships gone bad. One partner wants to expand, the other wants to brand. One partner wants to advertise, the other wants to develop. One partner wants the expensive cars and the money yet arrives at the office late and leaves early. Partnerships are like marriage, half the time they will fail because the partners just aren't compatible. They say you should partner with people who have complementary skills to you. If I'm a marketing guy, I should partner with a technical guy. If you're a sales and people guy, you should partner with an analytical guy. While this is a great starting point to find a partner, it's like marrying the first person you date simply because they have big boobs or look like Brad Pitt. Many other personality characteristics will make or break a partnership. Do you have the same work ethic? Will your partner skate while you burn the midnight oil? Do you have the same vision? Or will they compete with each other? Do you want to grow slowly while your partner wants to own the world and do it fast? Do you want to sell franchises while your partner just wants one unit that pays the bills? Do you trust this person with your life? Do you have the same personality type? The fact is, people engage in partnerships for the wrong reasons. Like people start businesses under false premises, not need-oriented, they also form partnerships under a similar false premise: diversification. The partners don't seek synergy, they seek diversification of risk, expense, and workload. Often, each partner looks to the other for the burden to bear, and when one bears more, resentment builds. Partnerships can work, just like a lot of marriages work. Just make sure you know whom you're engaged to. A 2-week honeymoon with your college roommate might not be enough courtship to determine compatibility. Would you marry someone after 2 weeks of dating? Get A+As. I've had many verbal negotiations with investors, and when the 90-page legalese document arrived on my desk, what was said and what was written were two different things. We discussed an amortized note at 10% over 5 years, so why does it say 5% over 10? Who exposed the incongruity buried in an avalanche of legal jargon? Not me. It was my attorney. Then there was the time when a simple omission of a business expense can cost you thousands of dollars in taxes. Who knows that $38,000 interactive voice response system is depreciable when you think it's just some overpriced telephone system? An accountant. If I didn't have good team of A's, accountants and attorneys, I'd be poorer. And yes, these people aren't easy to find because they're like partners under contract, another group of individuals who have the keys to your castle. Don't be an idiot like me. Still green, I remember my first accountant, found right out of the yellow pages, not from referral, but blind hope. It didn't take long to see that she wasn't concerned with tax planning. No questions about my business or my concerns, just zeal to complete the forms and get it done. Additionally, most of her clients were slowlaners who dabbled with W-2s and 401 Burmese chats rather than corporations. Great pick, MJ. I needed someone with a FastLane business mindset, and I committed to finding one. After interviewing and investigating a half-dozen accountants, I found one whose clients were primarily business owners. Be very careful with whom you trust with the keys to your castle because they can drive you to financial ruin. Remember Nicolas Cage, his manager allegedly drove him to the precipice of financial ruin. Investigate and interview. Get referrals from successful, established entrepreneurs. Treat your 2As like you would any partner, because they have unfettered access to your castle, and those with the keys have the potential to steer you wrong. Would you like a chainsaw with your beer? When you blindly trust others to anything business, financial investments, security, you're vulnerable to being conned.